The Death Star was Palpatine's prized possession and his ultimate tool for galactic domination. But after its destruction, how did Palpatine truly react, and why did he place the blame on Darth Vader? In the canon Star Wars comics, we see Vader and Palpatine's first interaction after the Death Star's destruction. Palpatine tells Vader that they kept the skeleton of the Republic for nearly 20 years, which was as long as the construction of the Death Star. They have no Senate, and their greatest weapon has now been besieged. As Palpatine blames Vader, saying that his plan to tag the rebel ship and letting them escape with the Death Star plans was not the brightest idea, where Vader apologizes but says that he wasn't alone in his failure, and that the weapon was nothing compared to the power of the Force. Palpatine then goes on to say, yes, while others had blame too, Vader as the lone survivor will feel his suffering and anger. Palpatine then demotes Vader for his failure, which was an insult to Vader, forcing him to take orders from someone he thought was beneath him. With no Senate and no Death Star, Palpatine essentially lost some of his control over the galaxy, which is the one thing that angered him the most. This weapon was meant to keep the galaxy in check by inducing fear, rather than needing the Senate at all. The destruction of the Death Star was really the first cracks in the Empire, and Palpatine knew it. Palpatine and Vader also had completely different views on the Death Star. Vader believed that this weapon was insignificant compared to the power of the Force, which he said in Episode 4, as well as this comic here. Well, in Rogue One, we got that awesome Vader hallway scene, but I think Vader could have done a lot more to get the plans back from the rebels. He could have used the Force on Leia's ship, or even just used the Force and grabbed the rebel with the Death Star plans. I think it just leads to the fact that it wasn't really a do or die situation for Vader, as he didn't really care much for the Death Star anyway. Whereas the Death Star was Palpatine's baby, that this was his weapon, and one of his ultimate plans, as they had the plans for this made all the way back in Attack of the Clones. Palpatine planned to use this weapon as his tool to truly rule the galaxy with an iron fist, that anyone who opposed him and the Empire would be met with full force. Hence why he believed he had no need for the Senate anymore, since the Death Star would serve as the piece to keep the galaxy in line. In Legends, Palpatine had a similar reaction and was furious that Vader let a small group of rebels destroy his new ultimate weapon. When Palpatine and Vader came face to face after the Death Star's destruction, Palpatine sliced off one of Vader's arms and even demoted him. Palpatine put Vader in charge of overseeing the construction of the second Death Star, as well as had Vader go on tedious missions that only angered Vader. In both Legends and canon, Palpatine was enraged at the destruction of his new superweapon, but hey, I can't blame him. When you put all those resources and planning into something like that and it just blows up. But let me know what you think about Palpatine's reaction and if you think it was justified. If you enjoyed this video, consider giving it a like. But anyway, I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.